Oi, what the bloody hell is going on in this country? Nah, seriously. What kind of cooked government thinks it's a good idea to tax you on money you haven't even bloody made yet? That's right. Labor wants to take a chunk out of your wallet for investments you haven't even sold. It's like being fined for speeding before you've even touched the bloody accelerator. Before we dive headfirst into Labor's full-blown digital power grab, where they're taxing money you don't even have, tracking every dollar you spend, and turning your bank account into a control panel. Smash that like button, like you're deleting your digital ID. Subscribe if you're sick of being treated like a walking wallet, not a free Aussie, and grab the "Is This the Better Australia You Promised" shirt. Links in the description before they tax that too. Now I know you're probably thinking, that sounds insane. And mate, you'd be dead right. This is next level economic lunacy. This ain't just some boring tax policy buried in a spreadsheet. This is a full-blown attack on how Aussies build wealth. And no one's talking about it loud enough. Alright, let's break this down like a backyard BBQ gone wrong. Imagine you bought a house in Western Sydney for $800,000. You do bugger all with it. Don't sell it, don't flip it, just let it sit there while the market does its thing. Suddenly the value shoots up to $900K, thanks to the property bubble, the Reserve Bank's wild mood swings, and the fact that everyone and their dog wants to live near a train station. Now, you haven't sold it, you haven't made a cent, but the government knocks on your door, holds out their hand, and says, "Cough up, mate. You owe us tax on that $100,000 gain." And you're just standing there like, what gain? The house is still mine. I haven't seen a single dollar. And they go, yeah, nah. But we reckon hypothetically you've made some money. So we'll take our cut now. Cheers. Mate, this is straight up loony bin stuff. This is taxing the dream. Taxing the future. And it doesn't stop there. This isn't just about investment property. This hits superannuation. Your retirement. You know, the nest egg you've been building for decades, so you don't end up living off instant noodles and regrets when you're 70. Some of these poor buggers, with super balances over 3 million. And yeah, that sounds like a lot now, but with inflation, it's going to be the new middle class. They'll be whacked with 50 grand a year in taxes. For what? For existing? You think this won't affect you because you're not rich? Think again, champ. This is the thin edge of the wedge. They always start with the rich. Then they move the goalposts. And next thing you know, your grandma's paying tax on her backyard lemon tree because it went up in unrealized citrus value. And here's where it gets spicier. You know who gets to decide what your assets are worth? The bloody government. That's right. The same mob who spent $200 million on a COVID app that didn't work are now in charge of valuing your investments. So let's say you've got a small business or some startup shares in a mate's crypto project that's gonna moon, but hasn't done anything yet. Now imagine some desk jockey at the ATO decides, yeah, looks like this is worth $1 million, and sends you a tax bill based on that, even if you can't sell the shares or don't want to. Welcome to financial fantasy land, where you pay real taxes on fake money. But it gets worse. Yeah, worse. This completely nukes the compounding effect. The whole reason long-term investing works. Usually you make a gain, leave it in the market, and it snowballs over the years. That's how wealth grows. That's how working-class Aussies become financially independent. Slowly, steadily. But now, every time your portfolio goes up, ka-ching, Labor takes a slice. So you're forced to sell off your assets just to pay tax on a gain you haven't even locked in. That's not smart policy. That's financial sabotage. And the real kicker? It's gonna wreck innovation. You know how a lot of self-managed super funds invest in Aussie startups, small businesses, local ideas? That's the engine room of our future economy, mate. But if you slap unrealized taxes on those early investments, guess what? Investors will pull out. Why would anyone take a risk when they're getting taxed on paper profits that might never become real? So good luck to the next Canva or Atlassian or Aussie tech hero. You just shot the startup scene in the foot with a rusty nail gun. But hey, maybe that's the point. Maybe Labor doesn't want Australians to build wealth independently. Maybe they want you tethered to the system, just scraping by, relying on government crumbs, too knackered to push back. Because a population that owns assets is a population that asks questions. And mate, if there's one thing the ruling class hates, it's questions. And speaking of questions, where the bloody hell is the media on this? Oh, that's right. They're too busy writing puff pieces about how Albo's Spotify playlist is relatable, or how Parliament added more gender-neutral bathrooms. Meanwhile, they're dead silent on the biggest heist in recent financial history. This is daylight robbery dressed up as progressive policy. And the worst part, they're selling it to you as fairness. Only affects the rich, they say. Helps fund social services, they say. Mate, if they really cared about fairness, they wouldn't let multinationals dodge tax with offshore havens while coming after Aussies who've worked their guts out to build something. But nah, gotta protect the big boys while squeezing retirees and battlers. Fair go? More like a fair con. And don't even get me started on the bureaucratic corruption this opens the door to. You give a public servant the power to assign arbitrary values to assets. You've basically handed them the keys to a new racket. One bloke gets a soft valuation because he's mates with the minister. Another gets whacked with a brutal one because he once voted for the wrong party. No oversight, no transparency. Just backroom deals and paper trails buried deeper than a Canberra scandal. You know what this smells like? Georgia. Not the Aussie town. The country. Their ex-president once said corruption is guaranteed anywhere bureaucrats have unchecked discretion. And that's exactly what we're giving them. We're setting up a system where the taxman becomes judge, jury, and executioner on your finances. And if you speak up, good luck getting your next valuation reviewed fairly. Mate, we're not just slipping into socialism. We're belly flopping into it head first, beers in hand, thinking the pool's deep, but it's only ankle high. And here's the scary part. It doesn't stop at tax. This whole ideology is about control. Creeping control. First, it's taxing paper gains. Then, it's telling you what you can and can't invest in. Next, maybe they slap ESG rules on your super, and suddenly you're funding wind farms in Tasmania, whether you like it or not. Then it's social credit scores. Then digital ID. It's all connected. It's all creep. You give them an inch. They build a bloody surveillance state. But the politicians? They don't feel the pinch. They've got fat pensions, private portfolios, and advisors who know how to skirt every loophole they won't close. It's us, the mugs, who cop it in the neck. And meanwhile, what's the opposition doing? Bugger all. You've got Ted O'Brien, the new Liberal deputy, getting up on telly cracking dad jokes about being the deputy at home. Mate, save it for family dinner. You're not here to be Albo light. You're here to fight. But nah, too scared to offend the ABC, too busy trying to be reasonable. We don't need reasonable. We need bloody resistance. Every time the Liberals try to play nice and appease the woke mob, they lose harder. John Howard didn't win by apologising. Tony Abbott didn't win by asking permission. You gotta be a bull in the china shop, not a bloody poodle licking the glass. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying women can't lead. I'm saying if your entire strategy is to grovel and self-deprecate to earn points with progressives who will never vote for you anyway, you're wasting your time and our future. Masculinity is not the enemy here. The enemy is cowardice. The enemy is pretending that if we just play by their rules, they'll go easy on us. They won't. They never do. And now we're teaching young Aussie men that they're the villains of the story. Toxic masculinity, privilege, the whole lot. No wonder they're checking out, mate. They're sick of being told they're bad just for being blokes. You want to save this country? Start by letting men be men, women be women, and stop taxing us for imaginary profits in an economy that's already gasping for air. Because what I'm about to show, trust me, you don't want to miss this, is how this whole unrealized gains tax scam is only the first move in a much bigger plan. A plan that's got nothing to do with fairness and everything to do with locking you into a financial cage. We're talking digital surveillance. We're talking programmable money. We're talking about the slow erasure of financial freedom. And it's already started. Right, so here's where things go from bloody bad to full-blown dystopian nightmare. We ended with Labor's lunatic plan to tax unrealized capital gains, literally taxing you on money you haven't pocketed. But mate, that's just the first brick in the wall. You thought the government squeezing you for hypothetical profit was bad? Wait till you see what they're planning next. Because this isn't just about taxes, it's about control. Deep, digital, inescapable control. Let's talk about where this is really headed. Central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Doesn't sound scary, right? Sounds like a fancy economic buzzword some nerd in Treasury made up over too many flat whites. But trust me, once you dig into it, it's terrifying. See, here's how they'll sell it. It's convenient. It's secure. It's the future of money. But what they won't tell you is this. Once the Reserve Bank launches a digital Aussie dollar, every transaction you make can be tracked, timed, flagged, and controlled. Gone are the days of handing a $50 bill to your mate for fixing your mower. Gone is the privacy of buying what you want when you want, with your own bloody money. Because with a CBDC, they can program your spending. No, I'm not joking. They can literally make it so your dollars only work in approved places, for approved things, during approved times. Say goodbye to cash. Say goodbye to financial freedom. Say goodbye to off-the-grid anything. You thought vaccine passports were bad? Wait till your money itself has a use-by date or can be paused if you don't comply with the latest rule. Forgot to update your climate impact profile? Boom. Spending suspended. Said something a little spicy online? Sorry, mate. Flagged for misinformation. Funds frozen. Didn't vote the right way. Oh well, your carbon credit's been slashed. Can't buy fuel this month. Sound extreme? It's already happening overseas. China's got a digital yuan. And guess what? It expires. That's right. If you don't spend it in time, it disappears. It's like a government gift card from hell. And in Canada, remember the trucker protests? Trudeau froze people's bank accounts just for donating to the cause. Imagine if that was built into the money system from day one. That's where CBDCs take us. And here's the scariest part. Australia is already trialling it. Didn't hear about that on the nightly news, did you? Nah. They don't want you to know. The Reserve Bank, in partnership with some of the big banks and financial players, quietly rolled out pilot programs for a digital Aussie dollar in 2023. The whole point? To explore potential use cases. Translation, to see how much control they can get away with. And here's how it ties into the unrealized gains tax. Once everything's digital, once cash is dead, once you're locked into their system, it's game over. You won't need to report your unrealized gains. They'll already know. They'll monitor your portfolio in real time. They'll adjust your tax bill automatically. No negotiation, no delay, no escape. They say, you'll own nothing and be happy. But let's be real. You'll own nothing and be taxed to death. Then told it's good for the environment. And if you complain, get ready to be called a selfish extremist, a climate denier, or a threat to democracy. It's control by 1,000 cuts. Now, let's not forget who's cheering this on. The elites. The same mob that jetted off to Davos in their private planes to lecture us about carbon footprints. The same bureaucrats who get their salaries from your taxes while sipping Pinot in Canberra wine bars. The same talking heads on TV who tell you to shut up and trust the experts. You ever notice how these green policies always seem to punish regular Aussies, but never the people pushing them? You've got families skipping meals to afford rent, and these jokers are out here slapping new taxes on air travel, meat and utes. But you'll never see them ride a pushbike to Parliament. You'll never see Chris Bowen giving up his taxpayer-funded Tesla to catch the bus. Nah, that's for you, peasant. And here's the kicker. While they're taxing your imaginary profits and digitizing your money, they're also redefining your rights. We're already seeing it with language. Words like misinformation, hate speech, domestic extremism. Sounds like they're protecting us, right? Wrong. These terms are so broad, they can mean whatever the government wants them to mean. You question the tax system? Extremist. You oppose digital ID? Dangerous. You ask why kids are being taught gender theory in school? Bigot. And here's where it all converges. Digital ID. If CBDC is the leash, digital ID is the collar. They want to link everything. Your medical history, financial records, internet activity, superannuation, driving license, to one central ID system. On paper, that sounds efficient. In reality, it's the final nail in the coffin of personal freedom. Once they know everything about you, once they control everything about you, they don't need to ask for your consent anymore. You become a user in a system where dissent equals punishment. You want to protest? Good luck. Can't book a flight. Can't hire a car. Can't even order food if your social credit score, your trustworthiness profile, is low. You think I'm joking? In Italy, they trialed a system where citizens got green points for good behaviour, shop at a local market, get points, take public transport, more points, but criticise the system, points vanish. And once your points are gone, you lose privileges. That's not the future. That's now. And it's sneaking into Australia while everyone's too distracted with TikTok dances and AFL scores. But here's the real heartbreaker. Most people won't realise what's happening until it's too late. Because the loss of freedom doesn't come with a bang. It comes with a whimper. It comes with a smiling politician saying, "We're doing this for fairness." It comes with a softly spoken bureaucrat saying, "It's for your safety." It comes with a cute little app update that suddenly needs your face scan before you can use your bank account. And it all starts with one sneaky little policy, like taxing you on money you haven't even seen yet. That's the seed. And once they plant it, mate, they water it with surveillance, fertilize it with fear, and trim it with digital scissors that cut off your financial lifeline. But I know what you're thinking. Okay, this is mental. What can I do about it? Here's the good news. We're not powerless. Not yet. First, wake the bloody hell up. Don't sleepwalk into the trap. Start talking to your mates, your family, your co-workers. Get the word out. Share videos like this. Make noise. Because once the public sees what's really going on, they can't unsee it. Second, use cash. Every time you pay in cash, you're preserving a slice of freedom. You're keeping a transaction private. They hate that. The more we rely on digital systems, the more control they have. Third, vote smarter. Don't fall for the left vs right pantomime anymore. Start looking at candidates who value actual freedom, not buzzword-loaded puppets who talk inclusion while pushing surveillance state agendas. And finally, protect your wealth. Diversify. Hard assets, crypto, the real kind, not the dog coin garbage. International options. Don't put all your eggs in one digital basket that the government can seize, freeze, or revalue at will. And if you think this all sounds too extreme, too conspiratorial, just remember this. Every warning in this video has already happened somewhere in the world. We're not imagining things. We're forecasting them. And the storm is already on the horizon. Unrealized gains tax is just the beginning. It's the test balloon to see how much pain Aussies will tolerate. If we let this one through, they'll push further. Because power always expands. Tyranny doesn't stop because it hits a wall. It stops when people say, "No, that's enough." So ask yourself, are you going to wait until your bank account gets frozen for a meme you posted? Or are you going to stand up now while there's still time? Because, mate, this country was built by convicts who said screw you to British overlords. We punched above our weight in every war. We invented the bloody bionic ear, Wi-Fi, and the heels hoist. We're not soft, we're not stupid, and we shouldn't be silent. They can sell you comfort, or you can fight for freedom, but you can't have both. So share this, talk about it, use your voice, use your vote, and for God's sake, don't let them tax your future, track your spending, and sell it back to you with a smug smile and a QR code. This isn't about politics anymore. It's about whether you get to live like a free Aussie, or a domesticated data point in some bureaucrat's spreadsheet. The time to pick a side is now. Stay loud. Stay dangerous. And remember, the moment you stop fighting for freedom is the moment they take it away. Smash that like button like you're deleting your MyGov account. Subscribe if you're done letting suits in Canberra micromanage your life. And if you're really fired up, chuck on the "Is this the better Australia you promised" tee. Links in the description. Because this isn't just a rant. It's a bloody warning. Catch you in the next one. Stay sharp.